Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Ron Night podcast. Thank you all for being with us again. Feels like we're seeing each other every other day at the minute. But anyway, thank you for being with us. You know what's coming. It's going to be miserable. There's going to be complaints. Me and Mick will probably argue again. It's going to be a laugh. It's going to be good. Mick's with us. How's it going, Michael?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Thank you very much. I'm all good. Are you?
Yeah, very, very good. I have my microphone out being rubbish, so I will try and fix that. Ben, is that any better?
No.
Then
we are screwed. Ben, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Tom?
Better.
Is
Your mic's a little bit better.
Problem solved.
I apologise on my echoey, but yeah, it's going to be fun.
That's one problem we can solve as a podcast. We can't solve a lot of things, but I can fix my own microphone, which is something, I suppose. Sam's back as well. How's it going, Sam?
Absolutely fantastic. Buzzing.
Football aside.
Oh, football as well, yeah.
Yeah. Sam's a secret Peterborough fan. Shh, don't tell anybody. Happy New Year, everybody. Better than me and Mick outside a really cold New York stadium. This feels a bit more nice. YouTuber says good evening, one and all. Miller66, good evening, everybody. Where do we go? Where do we get a win again? Honestly, can't see where our next point is coming from, let alone win. Sarah says evening all. Happy New Year. Struggling to see where the next goal and point is coming from. Because we're playing now, Winter scored. Paul is saying, any chance of heavy snow Sunday? Asking for a friend. Richard's with us. Harry says, being all aboard the League Two party bus. Oh, Harry. If you book now, I imagine you'll get really good rates for like 18 months' time, to be honest. That's not a bad idea. Darren's with us. Not going to start. No, Jordan. Rotherham Gaming says, getting gone. Teenage Wall Street says, evening. Scott Grundy, Andrew Paolo, Adam's with us, as are a few other people. I want to start with Simon, though. Simon's messages and says, I want to address Matt and Mick bickering. We're making him sad, Mick. It's like watching parents divorce all over again. This is how we disagree. This is how we do it, isn't it?
Well, maybe that puts a little bit of cold water on the happy clappers.
True.
Imagine if you showed the ones off camera.
I know. Yeah. When we start swearing at each other, that's when it gets really fun. But yeah, I don't think it was so bad. Ben, you were Mr. Cameraman for the instant reaction. So first of all, thank you everybody who tuned into the instant reaction, as you'd expect. A strong response. What's your take on the afternoon? I stole some of your talking points on it, actually. So thank you very much. What's your take on the afternoon, the evening, and we'll talk about the future later. Let's just talk about the game to start with.
Well, like you said, you robbed all my points. Cheers, mate.
No worries.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't really believe that we went 10 unbeaten. I don't know if we've drastically changed. I've obviously only really seen the past month or so consistently. It's just, again, same thing every game. There's no press, really. I mean, we half pressed them and we put them in danger. And then continues to just half press instead of actually pressing him. There's no real plan. There's no out ball. We're trying to get Ugal and Atete channels. Fullbacks have got no ball, so it just goes straight up in air. Atete then holds it down, holds it up, and goes nowhere because there's nobody supporting. It's the same stuff every week. Easy to play against. Poor defending. Toothless. Not very good at set pieces.
Any more?
That's right. I mean, that's all kind of three phases, really. So I'm not really sure where I'd love to be in the meeting, the day before the game and say, this is how we're going to beat them. I'd love to see what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Or be in the coaches' meeting and say, this is how we're going to beat them. Or this is how we're not going to lose. Which is, I know Tom says that before every game, and that's what it feels like. It feels like we're playing not to lose.
Yeah.
And, it's not ideal at the minute.
No. Yeah, Sam, and Ben's right that obviously Ben didn't watch a lot of that unbeaten run, but we all did. And we saw some not perfect football, but generally for that 10 games, there were no lucky wins in there, I don't think. There might have been a lucky odd point in there, but I don't think they were lucky wins. They were solid performances. We were really efficient with our chances, which obviously are less so now. But it doesn't look like the same team. And it's not like in that 10 games Nombe played for Rotherham. Nombe were missing still for most of those games that we ended up winning. So we can't even use Nombe as an excuse. When he comes back, he's brilliant, but he's not an excuse for the 10-game run and the run we're on now. It's bizarre that this is basically the same number of players.
It's not for me.
Sam, sorry.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's just like polar opposites, isn't it? And it seemed like when we had no options off the bench, they put like 110% in. I can't get my words out. And they were like blocking shots. They were jumping for. They were just like they were playing for the shirt, even though there were no one there to replace him. But then all of a sudden, that's all gone. Like I think I lost track how many players were just like, especially Martha, who was dashing tackles left, right, and centre. They were just going round him. He was just half-arsed, and it's just bad. I don't understand what's happened in that time. We won 7-2 and then got smashed by Blackpool. And then that rate heads are down. And I just don't understand why. It's odd. I don't get it.
Yeah, it is. And it is, even the players, taking away kind of the individuals, as a collective, one of the things we said during that unbeaten run, Tom, was, God, these have got character. These have got great character. They're coming from 2-0 down. They're coming from 1-0 down away at Northampton when things weren't really going our way. We threw points away against Bradford, but what a response there was in the last game. It was more about character than actual technical ability, probably, that run. And I can't believe the lack of character in this team at the minute. It's actually unbelievable, the lack of character in this team at the minute.
Yeah, you sense a complete difference between that Northampton game back in when we won, that goal from Benson compared to the atmosphere that it is now. Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's so it's problematic, but it's similar players playing. You know, that game, the game that started yesterday, James, Rafferty, Hall, Powell, they all started and played every single game of that unbeaten run. It's just that desire. It's that final ball. It's just, as Sam said, I mean, half the players on that pitch yesterday, you could argue after 60, 70 minutes, especially when the second goal went in, I've never seen a team capitulate as badly as those last 25 minutes. Before then, it wasn't a good game, but we were in it, kind of. We were still in it. And then the last 25 minutes, you have an own goal that sums up our whole season. And then you just, your heads drop completely. That confidence is such an issue. And yeah, there seems to be something wrong definitely behind the scenes that they're just not getting right, because you keep saying that we've got injuries, and I think injuries are excuses rather than reasons. I think it's tough to say that it's the pure point, because as you said there, I think Nombe scores more than his fair share of goals for us, and we were doing okay without him when he was out. We weren't doing good, we weren't doing well, but we were coping. But what do you expect when you bring in, one player comes back from injury, two get out injured? I mean, I think it's double figures again, and I don't think for one game this season the injury figure hasn't been double figures. Which for that point, it's just got to be. It can't be an excuse at that point. So I'm sick and tired of hearing the, just wait till we're fit again, squad.
Yeah, I agree. Couple of comments before we come on to Mick. But Hamilton says, hello lads, quick one for him. Says, Peter, we weren't the best team, but the wingers for them made such a huge difference. That's why I think we should start. Yeah, they were a classic wingers team. They had two wingers who were fast, they were quick, they were skillful, and we didn't. Scott Gunny said the back three has to stop. All season teams get behind on both flanks. Yes, they do. Tig says, Ben, we were unbeaten as the defence weren't letting in. Then he started fiddling around with it. Paul V says, I heard that we signed a striker on over from Sheffield United, the 19-year-old Ryan. I think it's pronounced One. Not sure, but I think it's One rather than one. But Scott Kent did message me saying he listened to Radio Sheffield and said that Barnsley are interested. So what that means is he's going to Barnsley if there's another team interested, which is good news. Good news, isn't it? Mick, we've all had time kind of think about it, I was feeling really happy today, to be honest, before we started talking to each other. Now I'm starting to feel a bit more miserable, which is a shame. Where are you on the whole vibe right now?
It's a bit depressing, isn't it? It's a bit depressing. If I could just cancel out all the noise outside of New York Stadium, I'd go, I'd be fed up, I'd shout at people on pitch, I'd come home and I'd be happy. You know, because I've been through it, I've been here before, many of us have been here before, and we'll be here again, because that's football. Yes, there are issues. Clearly there are issues. You listen to Matt Hamshaw's interview, there's clearly off-field issues. Absolutely there are. And there are issues with where they're playing. I disagree. I can't disagree more with Tom about the injuries being an excuse. You can't. That's just nonsense. As far as in my opinion, it's a reason. It's one of many reasons. But maybe that doesn't. I don't know. It's not an excuse. We've got 9-10 players out of a 25-man squad in physio room, in injury on injured list. How can that not be anything other than a reason why we can't put out a full strength squad? It's not an excuse. It's an absolute valid reason.
It's a reason, but it's not an excuse, because these players keep getting injured. It's not like and that's where it's got to be. It can't be there. It can't be. These players have never been injured before in their careers, but yet they come to us.
For example.
Yeah, they come to us, and this season they've just not non-stop been injured. That's where I'm losing sympathy.
It's semantics. And what I'm saying is the reason we're playing the way we are is one of the reasons, not one of the excuses. It's a different word with a different meaning, and it's important. You know, it is a valid reason why we can't put out a full strength squad. It's a valid reason that we can't put the same team out week after week. It's a valid reason why the players aren't playing together cohesively, because they're never the same players playing in the same position.
But
so I'm not saying that is the sole reason. Please don't think that I'm saying lost 6 games and that is the only reason why. I'm not. There's a perfect storm here. You know, they lose 2 games on the trot and confidence is shot anyway. Confidence was always very, very, very delicate prior to this, even after a 10-game unbeaten run. You lose 2, it's shot. Confidence is gone. Lose 6, that's it. There is none. You couple that with fans getting on the back. You've got the issues that are going off behind the scenes. You've got the perfect storm for a toxic environment, both on and off the pitch. And as supporters, we can only do one thing. And the clue's there in the name, right? It's not going well. It's not going well at all. What are we going to do? Are we going to support it, or are we just going to flag them off and standing crowd effing and jeffing at players as they walk off? Which is the best way of dealing with it, because the second one isn't, and that's not my opinion. That's just a fact, isn't it? So, look, it's tough. It's really tough. None of us like losing, do we? None of us. And in the manner that we've been losing, we like it even less. But you've got to accept that there are issues. And Matt Hamshaw's alluded to quite a few of them in that interview. If you read between the lines,
we'll go on to that.
Yeah. So
that was
So, you know, there's a much bigger picture than people just literally getting face on because we've lost some games. Which is, I'm not saying that's everybody, but it's certainly a good proportion of our so-called supporters who, for whatever reason, don't have the tools to deal with it properly.
Okay. Harry says, people say it's Burberry's fault. Part of me starts to believe it is. We didn't have a lot of problems before we came in. We did. We had a lot of problems before he came in. But I think I can't wait to this live on the podcast or kind of after that. I think a lot of these injuries are probably down to some decisions Matt Hamshaw made. And I think he's made mistakes pre-season. Probably. I think that's where these injuries are coming from. But you can't fix that. If that is the case, that they've been pushed too hard early in the season, we are where we are. We can't do anything about it. Changing manager won't even fix that problem. I think Matt Hamshaw's made some first-time manager mistakes from a fitness and conditioning point of view. I think that's probably the case. But that doesn't, changing Ross Burberry right now doesn't solve that problem. Changing Matt Hamshaw doesn't solve that particular problem. that this is a road we are down at the minute. I think that might be nonsense. It might have done everything right. I don't know.
I mean, the other question to ask in terms of the injuries, where are we in terms of dealing with those injuries and the preventative side of it and everything else in training at Roundwood? What facilities do we have? Which is none, quite clearly. Yeah. Again, another issue, another problem, which is completely out of the manager's control. Yeah. So what do? Train 45 minutes a day like we used to. We end up with the same dross that we're getting now. So, and we still had injuries. So where do you go?
Yeah, with worse players than we had last year. Rob Dixon's. We've got worse players this year than we did last year. We ain't got Malik Wilkes, have we, for example?
We've got worse players than we had last year.
Well, yeah, we ain't got Malik Wilkes, for example, who was one of the best players in League One last year.
Did you disagree with
single-handedly?
It was, yeah, when he could be bothered to turn up, yeah.
Which was probably the end of the game.
Games. Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. Right. Listen, Malik Wilkes is a great player. He turns up 5-10 minutes every 3 games.
I think a lot of Rotherham fans are getting the right foot for Malik Wilkes this season.
Yeah, if he played.
I am with Mick on this one, though. There were some bad ones last season, there weren't there?
Yeah.
Clark Harris, Alex McDonald.
But Alex McDonald, a bit bottom about him. We could do an Alex McDonald type player right now for the personality.
Yeah.
We had better players. Maybe someone on loan, for example, and whatever. Hacks. Jeez, we had Hacky and Madoffin. You tell me we had a better squad last year. Cam Humphreys would walk into this side at minute. We had a better squad last year. So that's why things are worse now, because we've got worse players.
Nah.
But anyway.
Wrong.
When do we start calling each other names? When's that starting?
I don't know if that's on the agenda. Bear with me and let me go through the script.
All right, yeah, sound. See what you're allowed to say, and then we'll go.
Clown and Muppet's a good one.
Yeah. We'll think of something original. It's fine. Robert Dixon says, frustrating that 6 matches ago, folk were talking about booking playoff buses. Now we're wanting a protest mental. Just need to hanker down and suck it up.
Hang on, Rob. Suck it up. I'll shut up now. I'll mute myself before I start talking.
He won't. Yeah, let's just tick off the goals because we've got other stuff to talk about, but we'll tick off the goals, Ben. Once one were in, there was always going to be a second one. We believe the first one's onside. I haven't seen a replay, but I'm led to believe it is Miles onside. Mick, thankfully, has muted himself for this bit. Even if he's onside or not, Ben, you have to be much closer than that. That is a joke of defending. It's a shambles.
Sunday League defending, mate. It's dreadful. It's dreadful. Jules and I don't know who centre back. Raggett. Raggett?
No, Jules. Jules on left hand side at that point, I think, and then Martha's the only left wing back.
They're holding hands in the middle of pitch. Martha's gone for a walk. It's embarrassing. Honestly, mate, there's nothing to say. They deserve to score. Onside or not, they deserve to score. If you're going to defend like that in any professional football league in the world, you're not going to do well at all. It's so bad. It's so bad. I'm surprised Woody didn't have an heart attack, to be honest, because it's so bad defending. I don't understand what's happened. I'm not a defender. Never played football. Well, I have played football, but I never played it professionally. But Jesus. When I play 5-a-side, mate, we defend better than that. It's so bad. It's so bad. Their wingers, wow. Their wingers had us on toast.
Yeah, they did.
He got done 3 times. Martha, he's not a left wing back. Well, allegedly, you said he played there last season, but I don't think he's ever been a left wing back. He didn't play like a left wing back yesterday when he was walking up pitch. It's just terrible defending, mate. And then it's unlucky on goal, but
Rafi's unlucky, isn't he? Rafi's really unlucky.
He can't do all, but either he scores or they score, so it isn't not what he can do, but he should never be in that position anyway. And he was onside. Sorted me on too nice.
Matt Grice says first goal came for Martha playing at wing back rather than changing formation. The manager has to take responsibility for some of that. well, I'm sure I'll get accused of defending him, I'm sure, but when Martha signed, you go back to the article. The article says we signed him as a left wing back. Now, Martha can say he's not a defender, whatever he wants to say. He obviously played left wing back for whichever Belgium team he played for last year. This isn't Joe Powell playing at left wing back, who was a midfielder. This is a guy who played 30 games, whatever it was, in the Belgium for top tier last year as left wing back. So to say he's not a left wing back isn't true. He just isn't true. But Sam, left wing back or not, if that's Joe Powell or whoever, if that's Reece James, they deserve all the stick they get for that. Because Ben's right about the central defenders. There's certainly a question mark for there. But Ajani Martha's not arsed there. You can say what you want.
Can I just say, sorry, Zach Jules has seen it. Zach Jules has got to take half the blame because he's seen it. What Martha ain't just mysteriously.
What can he do?
You're not there 5 minutes. Zach Jules has got to see that and say something. You can't say
you don't know the answer.
He's a left centre back in playing 3 at back, stood it in middle of the pitch. He's got to take some responsibility for that. That's not on. No way.
It's not, but you don't know that he hasn't said anything. And Martha's just decided to be. We're on the side of the stand, mate.
Martha's ignored him, then that's what you're saying. Martha's ignored him. But that's what you're suggesting.
That's what I'm suggesting. Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting. Yeah. Sam, what's your take on that?
It is just atrocious because I don't care if you don't play left wing back at all. I don't think there were a Rotherham player in that half of the pitch. They just got down. It must be a third at least. It doesn't take like rocket science to realise, like if you're defending that area, they're going to come down there, aren't they? But yeah, it was just awful. But like I said at the start, I think Martha, it's every game, and they obviously started on bench, weren't he? His effort is appalling at the minute.
Yeah,
he just backs out of everything. He like stands and just like 3 step overs, not moving the ball, not doing anything. He's just doing step overs to nothing. And like I think since the World Cup, since they got to the World Cup, his effort has just been awful. I don't know if he don't want to get injured, but then just don't play him all then. Do you know what I mean? And then he probably won't get called up then anyways. That's something Matt Hamshaw does need to address because I'm not playing you, you probably will get called up. Or, I don't understand.
Yeah, no, I agree. Robert's issue with Hamshaw is that he makes the same mistakes all new managers make. They have the style of play they tie themselves to. Why can't they change it? We're crying out for a 4-2-2, 4-1-1. I would have 4-2-3-1 in there as well, Tom. And this is the frustration. This is the criticism of Matt Hamshaw. The big criticism. There's loads of little ones, but the big criticism is when your best players aren't available, you have to adapt. You can't roast Martin it and say this is what I want. This is what I am going to do forever. You have to be adaptable, and he isn't. He just isn't adaptable.
Yeah, and look, that this 5 at the back, what we play with everyone fit and everyone available and everyone tuned into how it works, we'll probably do really, really well. But right now, as you say, Matt, we've got nobody here. And bearing in mind the players that he has got fit, he's got a fit Joe Rafferty and a fit Sean Raggett. I know that most people don't like Sean Raggett, but players who 2 seasons ago played in a back 4 and went up as champions. Obviously, they had a whole squad around them, but they're players who know how to play this, not the system that we're trying to play, which I think takes years. It takes a year, 2 years. The reason why it worked under Warne and why Hamshaw's so eager to get back to it is because I think it took us 2-3 years for us to get good at it. And we had players in every position who knew what their role was. They had someone who could come in and do the exact same role. They knew what it was immediately. Hamshaw's trying to do it in 3 months. It's not, it's not going to take that quick of a turnaround. And these players, Martha says in an interview with the club that he's not a defender and he's playing left wing back. So part of me has sympathy for him. Part of me knows that he should be tracking back. And part of me knows that there's no leaders on the pitch to tell him to track back, because that's also something we miss, which is why he wanted to play Tom Holmes so badly. Obviously, that didn't work out. He cost us a lot of goals, but it's why he wanted to play him so badly, because he's the only leader on the pitch alongside maybe Joe Rafferty. But Rafferty's not the sort of player who's going to put everyone in each position. He's going to motivate you. He's going to keep you going. That's the sort of player he is. We've got no one in that back 5 to really tell everyone where they need to be, say what needs to happen. And that's what's costing us. And you look at some of the players he's got at his disposal right now at this second, and you just need to go back to basics with them. You need to go back to being able to stop the other team scoring, and then then you can try and get something yourself, because that unbeaten run that we keep going on about, what we did so well was defend. Most of those games were 1-0 to us, 2-0 to us. That Lincoln game 3-0, but all the other games 1-1, 1-1, 0-0. They were all low scoring games. I think the past 7 games we've conceded what is it now? 18 goals, 16 goals.
Yeah.
And scored 2, and one of them was a penalty, and the other one was Sam Nombe doing something out of
93rd minute on a dead game.
Yeah, so it's no surprise that this squad, this whole team needs a shake-up. And look, we'll come into Hamshaw's comments in the media, but I mean, it seems like there's a couple of players not wanting to play. It seems like there's a couple of players who are through injuries, a couple of players he doesn't want to play and doesn't think's good enough. What we just need to do now is a complete reset. We need to change back to basics, play players in the positions that they know how to play, because players are coming in because everyone else is injured and playing in a position they don't know how to play. Powell played at left wing back for half the season. We've seen McWilliams play at wing back for another half the season. It's something that, look, he's tried it, it's not worked. And if this was one game off, I'd say keep trying. Maybe it's just an off game. But it's 7 in a row now, and even before then, we started to question it at the start of the season. It's just a formation that isn't getting the best out of his players. And as you say, you've got to be adaptable as a manager. And this is where his coaching side is coming in more than his managerial side, because he needs those experienced heads around him to say, look, we need to go back to basics. And yeah, we're not. And it's. Maybe it wouldn't change anything. Maybe it would, but I think for now you really need a shake up, and that's what I do personally.
It's what Hamshaw did very well end of last season. It's what Evans did really well in the Championship. The last 3 games he came in, just go back to basics. Just play whatever he knows they can play. Just go back to basics, and it worked really well for the last 2 managers when they first came in, and then they tried to be clever. Both of them tried to be clever, and it didn't work out for Evans, and it's certainly not working out for Hamshaw at the minute. Yeah, I mean, on to kind of Hamshaw, and we'll come on the post-match in a minute, but during the game, you sometimes watch managers, and a game like that, it's more just watch the manager than it is watch the sodding football. And they all looked a little lost at times. There was quite a lot of arm throwing up because the players weren't doing what they were asking to do, obviously. There's quite a lot of frustration, visible, obvious frustration from the bench to the pitch. And that's never going to end well. If when you do level 1 coaching badges, they tell you to be careful of your body language around your subjects and your coaching, because they take in the non-verbal cues and all that nonsense. They take it in, and well, they kind of looks like they took it in
up to a point, yeah. But if you as a football player, surely, and maybe I'm old-fashioned. You do as your manager asks. What your manager tells you to do, you do it. You don't fanny about doing stuff that you think is. You do and play where and how the manager has told you to play. And if you're not doing that, he's well within his rights to get annoyed about it. He's well within his rights to call you out about it in private. You do as you're told. That's your job. And if you're not going to do that, and it would appear that that's not happening with a number of players, then you're out, gone, bye.
You can't do that though. You can't do that though.
That's the problem. Again, here we are again. So you're back to the same problem, because you can't do that at the moment. Well, you can now. January is here. But, well, theoretically, you can now. January is here. Get rid, gone. If you're not going to do as you're told, if you're not going to play in the manner that you're capable of doing, and I'm asking you to do, see you. Bye. Absolutely. I don't know whether that'll happen, because I don't think he can.
No, can't.
So again, you've got a manager there with his hands tied again.
Mm.
So whose back are we getting on here again? You know what I mean? Yeah.
We'll come on to that.
He's not just working with nail through his boots, is he? He's got 2 great big planks strapped to both feet with nails through them. It's just every which way he turns. I feel sorry for him. I feel desperately sorry for him, and Woody and Dale Tong as well, because they're clearly they've got a plan. They know what they want. They know what they expect from their players, and if their players are not delivering it, they're quite within the rights to get annoyed with them one way or another, however that comes out. So you do as you're told. And Jason's hit the nail on the head there. Show some balls. Have some balls. Because none of these players... No, that's not true.
Nope, sorry, hang on. Nope.
A lot of these players haven't got any. You know? They can spout off about, you know, whatever. They have not got the bottle for the fight. Like a lot of our supporters.
This is a little bit of devil's advocate, but I think it's important to point out the similarities to last season. In the last 2 or 3 press conferences post-match, especially on Saturday, Hammy's calling out the players. He's literally calling out the players. He said on the last 2 games, he said against Blackpool and against somebody else, I've told the players that ain't good enough. He's told the players, basically on Saturday, some of these players don't want to be here. They've essentially got their heads turned elsewhere, Mick.
Yeah.
if Steve Evans did that, we'd be crucifying him.
No.
We absolutely would.
Because the difference being...
Rightly so and all.
The difference being... Evans singled out individual players and named them almost. If he didn't name them almost, he made it clear exactly, specifically who it was.
Yeah, that's fine. That's different. That's different.
That's the only time he did it.
But it isn't. It absolutely isn't.
Well,
fine. All right. We'll take it to Matt Taylor after we lost 3-0 away at Millwall when he said the players put them up. When he said these players aren't championship players, and we criticised him pretty heavily for saying that because he was calling out his players in public. Why is this different? I don't think it is. No. He's calling out his players. He's saying that he's essentially saying these players, some of these players have down tools. Is basically what he's saying.
Well, that's how you're reading it. They're not doing as they're asked. They're not performing the way that they should be performing, the way they're capable of performing. Yeah.
Ben, go on. Ben, what's your take on that?
What, calling out the players? He said the performance wasn't good enough.
He said that some players don't want to be here, basically. And
actually,
he's saying that he's having to rely on players.
He actually said that the players he's picking now didn't get into his team at the back end of last season. So he's basically said the players who are playing now, he wouldn't pick if he had a choice.
Yeah.
He's also saying that there's other players that are playing that I've told them they can go. So they've got they're looking elsewhere for opportunities. So I'm with Matt. I think what he said is I'm playing players I don't want to play because they're crap and not good enough. And also the other ones are not trying for me because they're I've told them they can bugger off and they've got opportunities elsewhere. So what Matt is saying is right. It's not quite as aggressive as Evans. I'll agree with Mick on that point. He's not going out and saying these players are crap and these players aren't good enough, but he is hinting at it, saying, look, I wouldn't pick these players if I had a choice. And also I've told them they can go and I'm still having to pick them because the board isn't giving me any money to sign any other players in Jan. He just had a 7-minute rant at everything and everyone apart from himself. My opinion of that.
I think he quite clearly... I think he was quite clear about how he's performing.
He backs himself, but
I back him.
I know. I'm not saying that's wrong, but at no point, I got it wrong today. Our tactics weren't there.
Yeah.
I'm saying that we're too deep. We didn't press well enough. He's saying that it's the players. He's saying it's the players who are down tools and it's players that they want to leave and et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to say that that's verbatim what he said, but yeah, I'm with Matt. It's whenever a manager, and we've just stated 2 managers there who very shortly after saying those things left. I think whether you agree or not that what he said is good or bad or whatever, it's a manager who's scrambling a little bit and a manager who is under serious pressure and doesn't believe in the squad he's got. So whether or not you want to take that as a positive towards the manager or a positive towards whatever you want to do, it just screams to me of a manager who's lost a bit of faith, and it never ends well. Basically, when a manager starts to even comment on his players' performances, it never usually ends well, which is what I got from that more in line with is that it's never a nice sign. It's never a good sign.
No, it's not. I can't disagree with that. But he's got players that aren't his players that he don't want to play. He's made it clear he don't want to play. He wants rid of them. Can't get rid of them. And now he's got to play them.
You can't do that publicly though. You can't. You go on, Sam. Go on. What would you want to say on
it? So Harry, RUFC 4886. He's nailed what I think as well in terms of what I don't like is since we've been losing, we're losing because we haven't got Nombe. We're losing because we haven't got Spence or Benson. If you're Drew Yearwood, right?
Yeah.
I'd be fuming because one is he's determined not to play him. He only brought him on because Hugo broke his nose, and then he took him off at half time. But yet, like players like Powell, who has just been awful, he don't get taken off. He plays every single minute, every single match, and like Jack Holmes, he puts 110% effort every time he plays. Barely plays, bless him. He only plays it versus Trophy, where we've always won. You know what I mean? He can put a cross in. He plays like that. Airs. You know, like Hugo must be feeling like we're losing because we haven't got Nombe, but Hugo's rocking up with a broken nose. He's not like feigning injury once his ankle, whatever. But I get Nombe is the best player. I'm not saying he isn't, but for other players who are turning up and being available, it must be disheartening for them.
Yeah, I agree. Ben, you're the closest one we have to some sort of professional athlete. You've played for essentially professional American football teams. What's your take on public comments, private comments, managers kind of publicly saying they don't fancy you? How would you feel as a player?
It depends. It is so hard to talk. I think it's really, really hard to talk about without being in training every day and seeing training every day, and also knowing the manager, because you don't know what he's like. You see him talk in the media, but you don't know what he's like as a person. You don't know how bad these lads have been in training. Because if training's been terrible and you're a manager, he might have just lost. He might have run out of ideas, trying something. Might be a motivation tactic. It's really hard to talk about without seeing training. But I mean, can you blame it? I mean, I hope McWilliams is injured, because if he's not injured and he's performed like that yesterday, would you not call him out? You know what I mean? Yeah. What do you do? Because someone like that checked out, and then you're getting hammer for it when you put him on pitch and he's doing stuff like that. I don't really have an opinion on it, because I think it's work. I think it can work, and I also think it can be really bad. I think it just depends on how you do it and who you do it to. Because some people don't even deserve the respect of not being named. Because if they're disrespecting you by... These players on a wage, by the way, and this is hypothetical. If some players aren't training well, don't come in every day, don't do what they say, and they're being paid, that's just disrespectful. And you're just going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, it's all right, you don't have to train, I'll play every week. No, it goes both ways. The players can't do what they want, you know what I mean? And that's sort of the modern footballer with a lot of the stories that are coming out now, is they don't want to train. And they just, especially lower down the leagues, they just kind of want to get a paycheck. And if they are, then what's stopping you from calling them out? Because they don't even deserve that respect of not being called out.
Interesting. Let's take a slightly different tactic on this. Scott Kent says, I honestly think if he goes, if Mansfield beat us, it could be 6 points adrift, Mick. Well, this brings us on to the ownership and the everything else that comes with it. He's not going to get sacked, is he? Do you really think that Tony's going to put hands in his pocket to pay off a manager over 2 years, which is a 3.5-year contract? Do you really think, mate, that Tony's going to do anything at this point? Even if he wanted to, even if he were bothered, do you think he would?
I hope you're right.
I know you won't, Brian.
I hope you're right. I hope that he has got that apathetic attitude towards it and just thinks, stuff it. I'm not paying off another manager. I hope so. Because I don't think he wants to. I wouldn't have thought he would want to. I would have thought for his ego and everything else, he'd want to have a winning team, because it obviously brings more money in as well as everything else. But I can't see him. I can't see him being willing to pay him off. I hope, because I genuinely believe that given time he'll get it right. I do. I've got no basis for it.
Is that blind faith, or is there something behind that?
No, I think he's a good coach. I think he's clearly a good coach. You know, he's a well-respected coach. He needs time to learn how to be a manager. And what else? What other options do we have? We don't have any other options, realistically. And if he, you know, the issues run so much deeper, don't they? The issues clearly run so much deeper. And I don't think you can blame his tactics. You can blame his in-game management at times. You can blame him losing his reg with players publicly if you want. But ultimately, he's had his hands tied since the day he was given the job. And I would argue, I would suspect, and again, I've no basis for this, I think that they've been tied. What's the word? I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Tied even tighter, because he's a local lad. I can treat him just the way I want to treat him. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know whether that's right. Again, it's just speculation in it, but.
Yeah, I just want to come on JB saying clearly good coach. In what way is it clear? I mean, he turned down Premier League coaching jobs to take the managerial job. And if you don't tend to get offered jobs in the Premier League if you're a crap coach. So I think that's whether he's a good manager is a question we can debate all night, Jay. But he is obviously a good coach. You can't. He's a pro-licensed coach. He obviously knows his stuff in terms of coaching. Right, we're not gonna move on. But what I would say first of all is thank you everyone who's joined us. Make sure you like. We've got 100 and so many people live, 120 odd people live watching on YouTube. So make sure all of you 120 give this a thumbs up. And if any of you 120 haven't subscribed, please make sure you do. The numbers keep rising on subscribers. You're a glutton for punishment, you lot. You're absolutely sick watching us having to go through this. But we appreciate you with us on this journey. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff, you know what to do because I've told you a million times. Tom. Yeah, it kind of moves on to things. Scott Kent, I'll come back to Scott Kent. Scott Kent says the budget is getting cut again, according to Andy Giddens. So this brings us on to the kind of the ownership and the steps that they're willing to take. Paul Davis reported last week that we are around 15th in the league for budget. There are reports, as Scott saying, that the budget has been cut again coming into the January transfer window, which says you're not 15th anymore. You're probably going to be lower than that, which I don't know what does it tell you. What does it tell you, Tom? It's not good, but I don't really know what it tells you about Tony Stewart and the future of this football club.
Well, it tells you that either 2 seasons worth has been spent last season, or a lot has been spent last season, and this season is all about making money as opposed to breaking even and getting that money back from last season. In which case, you can expect assets to be sold in Nombe and stuff like that. You can expect them to leave in the near future. But this is such a deep-rooted issue that I'm hoping we get answers to, but I don't think we ever will, because people spend hundreds of pounds a week seeing Rotherham on drink, food, travel, tickets, whatever, and we've got little to show for it for a while. Because I'm in the Mick camp in that I'm still Hampshire in based on the long-term potential benefit. But I'll agree. Anyone who's saying Hampshire out, I've got no reason to say anything against you. There's no reason I can give other than the fact that if he does go, you don't get anyone in who's going to look long term like he's looking long term. And because he is in the club and he knows what's wrong with the club, these long term issues need to get sorted, because the state of the training facilities, which Peltz has said on here and Morrison has said on here, the state of how the club is run, the state of how everything kind of operates within the club needs to be fixed. And it's it's not a 6-month job, it's a 2-3 year job. And the issue that I have where I'm saying, if they were in the exact same position, I'd have said the exact same thing about Evans. The issue with Evans was he bought players on year contracts, 2-year contracts. He wanted that short-term boost and he's gone. He wasn't looking long-term. He was looking for short-term success. Hampshire's made it obvious from the get-go. He's looking for long-term stability, success, and sustainability. Buying players young and selling them for double what you paid. If we get 2 million for Nombe in this January, nobody's going to complain because you've doubled your money on him, theoretically. Same with Martha. If you spend X amount, if you double it, whatever. The issue is that he's not getting that money to operate. He's not going to get that money to stay in the division. Therefore, his assets are going to be worth less in League Two, and he's going to make, we're going to be in this situation this time next year, potentially with the same manager, or potentially someone even cheaper who's come in on a favour, like Richard Wood would do. Because if Hampshire goes, that's all who's going to come in is Richard Wood, or Tongue steps up and takes it. That's anyone who's coming in because there's no way Tony Stewart is going to fork out more money for another manager again whilst paying his current manager. It's just a vicious cycle. It's just such a cyclical cycle ever since we sacked Taylor of short-term success. And as soon as we don't get it, we sack a manager and we expect short-term success. And that's down to the board. That's why I hope the board answer is what is the long-term plan with Rotherham United, with yearly sustainable steps of the first year we want to improve on this, second year this, third year this. Talk to me about where you are in the league once you've sorted out the backroom stuff, because clearly it's unacceptable. And, again, I'll go back to injuries. We've had 5 loan players this season. All 5 of them have got injured. Dangor is the only one who hasn't got injured for a significant amount of time. Until now. But who would want to send their players to us if we're just going to get them injured? Who would want to come to us as a player just to have your career, derailed a little bit because you get injured? And again, okay, we'll go off the topic of whose fault it is. I couldn't give a shit. Language. But basically, what happens is players are seeing that other players are coming here getting injured for a certain amount of time. Why would they want to come and derail their careers for that sake? So then you've got players not wanting to come, therefore money's not being put into the team because you're not making any sales, and therefore it's all getting vicious again. And that's where the chairman has to step in and make a loss, put in some of his own money on the facilities, on the medical team, on the fitness team to improve them. And he's not doing. He's on holiday till the middle of Jan, where nothing's going to get sorted, and nothing's going to get sorted. No one's going to get sacked. No one's going to get signed. It's just going to keep going again and again and again, which I think there's faults that Hamshaw has. He's not perfect by any means, but at least he wants a long-term future for the club. And there's one man who doesn't, and the chairman seems to just want a short-term vision for the club, and that's just to get out of this division. But it's not going to happen unless he puts some money in, which he's not doing. And it's sad to see, because it must be stressful as the manager, because he's getting things wrong. But if he had, different tools, maybe it'd be different. But right now, it's not. Like I said, anyone who says Hamshaw out, I've got no reason why against that, other than the fact that whoever comes in isn't going to be looking for long-term success, which is what we need right now to stop the downward spiral.
Yeah. Mark Samuel says, yes, Tom, let the hate flow through.
Yeah, no, that was an accident. I do
I want to cover a couple of comments, right? So Rob Dixon said, bear with me, Fisher Circle, Rob says, win games, great. Lose games, it's Hamshaw, it's Tony Stewart, it's boring.
Yes.
You're nodding your head. No.
Yes.
Anyway, and then John Fellow says, be honest with the viewers, guys. If it was Evans in charge right now, would you want him sacked? Privately, I'm sure last season we did say we wanted Evans sacked. What we were very careful to do as a podcast is not to call for Evans to be sacked on episodes, because it would be stupid, because nobody listened to us, because we keep like a broken record. So we're very careful as a podcast to publicly not say Evans should be sacked. I hope that answers your question. I hope it answers everybody else's question, because we keep getting asked that question. Honestly, every other comment we get on YouTube and Twitter is, oh, if Evans were here, would you sack him? Evans isn't here anymore. Why are we still talking about Steve Evans? Why is this question still coming up? You're going to get the same answers. If anybody else wants to ask the question, please do ask it. I've got it copied on my phone, so I'm just going to paste it as and when you ask it. It's a stupid question, okay? You're all somebody will ask it. Stop asking it. It's a
shouldn't be in the first place.
Yeah, why we shouldn't be talking about it anymore. Matt Hamshaw's here. It's irrelevant what's happened to.
Wind it in. Got it. I've got one.
It's so silly. It takes away from the important questions. Though. It takes away from what's important now. It's silly. It takes away from the issues.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying there, Matt. Absolutely, I do. But what about what Harry said?
No, how do we block people on this? How do we block people?
But also, I kind of answered it. If Evans was in this exact same position last season, we weren't winning games, we weren't doing anything on the pitch, and off the pitch, we weren't trying to get better. We were signing players on 1-2 year contracts. That's why I said, if it was the exact same this season, and it wasn't Hamshaw, it was a different manager who bought players on 1 year, 2 year contracts, looking for short-term success, never found it, and then had a run of 8 games. Of course, I'd be saying go, because what's the point in him being here? What's the point in that manager being here? The difference is Hampshire has said from the start that he wants the best for the club long term, and he wants a sustainable plan with proper, standards in training, standards for the, to take the board accountable. If he does that, then the club will be better for it long term. That's the only reason I say otherwise for Hampshire out.
Yeah. Scott Gunnis says we need to understand what Tony Stewart's plans are for our club as he's getting older by the day and it feels he isn't interested. Now, this point isn't referring back to bringing Steve Evans and criticising Steve Evans, Mick, but when Steve Evans came in, it was very obvious that was kind of a last roll of the dice for Tony Stewart to make an effort. And it's kind of playing out that exact way. He backed Steve Evans. He really did back Steve Evans. He really wanted Steve Evans to succeed. It obviously failed. So Tony Stewart's kind of doing what I think we all expected him to do. And this is a big criticism of Tony Stewart. Big criticism. He backed one man. As a football club, as a chairman, he's never done that before. He's never gone, here is everything I've got, basically. If it doesn't succeed, we're screwed, but I hope it will succeed. That was a real change, a departure from what we've seen in the past. And it seems now, because that failed, he now seems to have kind of checked out financially, certainly. And from an effort point of view, it half seems that way as well.
Feels like it, doesn't it? It definitely feels like it. He made a massive mistake in employing him. And for whatever reason, he's now decided that, he's not prepared to back anybody else. It's how it feels. Whether that's right or not, I don't know, but that's how it feels. So, yeah, it's worrying. It is worrying in that respect. But what are you going to do? The club aren't going to tell you anything about it. The club aren't. And I had to put it in there about Paul Douglas, and I know somebody else mentioned the club have said that Paul Douglas is going to go on Radio Sheffield next week or whatever. And I know Paul Douglas has got a lot of haters. I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them at all. But Paul will toe the corporate line. You will not get anything from Paul Douglas or Tony Stewart, for that matter. You're not going to get the information that we want in relation to what the actual plan is for this football club. Because Paul's got to keep his job. He's like the rest of us, he's got bills to pay. He can't afford to go against what the board or whoever wants him to say. He's going to toe the corporate line. So you're not going to get any insightful answers to difficult questions, I don't think. I'll be very surprised. But we need them. The club has to be more transparent. There has to be more transparent, because what's happening on the pitch is essentially reflecting their running of this football club. Yeah, ultimately. And manager after manager, it's happened with since Paul Warne left. And like you said, Evans was Tony Stewart's last throw of the dice, and it failed spectacularly. And it's just gone downhill from there, realistically. So it's difficult. It's really, really difficult. And I'm with Scott here. Listen, I will publicly say now, if anybody from Rotherham United Football Club is watching this, we are more than happy. Bring Tony Stewart on here. Let's talk to him. Let him speak to the fans. We will speak to him, and we will ask those questions. Bring him on. And let's be open with the supporters of this football club. I don't think for a second that will happen, but the supporters deserve some sort of idea as to what the current plan is for this football club, because the previous plan has put it where it is now. Ultimately, the initial plans were fantastic, and it took us back to Rotherham, and we had some fantastic times under Steve Evans and under Paul Warne. And from the moment we decided that we weren't going to give the fitness coach any more money because he's only a fitness coach, that's my passive-aggressive way of saying what I think happened. Whether that's right or not, I don't know. From that moment on, where we are now was probably a foregone conclusion.
Do you think he'll tell us what magic tricks he knows?
It might be quite a way down the list of questions to ask him, to be perfectly honest. But I'm sorry I didn't. I maybe should have asked you as host and owner of this podcast before I invited the chairman of our football club on it. But
we have asked Paul. We have emailed the club. Paul Douglas is doing interviews next week. We have thrown our hat into the ring. We have emailed the club asking if he'd be interested in coming and speak to us. We're not journalists, so I don't expect that to happen. But I thought it was right for a fan podcast to kind of throw their hat into the wind
We're not journalists, so we actually will ask questions.
Like magic tricks, favorite drink, favorite whiskey, favorite cigar.
Yeah, the hard hitting
pie.
Hitting
favorite pie. What Poundwood says we shouldn't do this. If we're asking for famous club, we shouldn't criticize too much, should we? Because you never know what might come up in the next few days. But Sam, I don't know what I was going to ask something, and I can't what I was going to ask, but where we are. This is smashing my head spotting Rotherham United a minute, to be honest with you. Rob Dixon says we're financially stable, staff are getting paid, we have a quality stadium. When clubs are going under, we just need to chill.
I've got a lot of sympathy with that.
Mike, you what?
I'm sorry. I know I keep butting in, and I'm making this the Mick podcast. I'm sorry. I've got a lot of sympathy for Rob's point of view.
Well, my response to that would be, Sam, are we financially stable? How much did we gamble last year? Why is it we need to go to 15th lowest budget? Why is it allegedly the budget's being asked to be cut again? There are questions financially where there's red flags waving all over the place at the minute for me. Cheap option with manager, cheap option with signings, budget being failed. There are questions where we are financially for me at the minute. But is that me being dramatic, Sam?
No, I completely agree with you. And I get the point. Yeah, we're not in any debt, or what is it, 5 million that we owe to Toshio's company or something that low, whatever. And all other, you don't want to be losing loads of money, but every football club's going to lose money. But what I don't understand is he's a businessman, right? So you've got an experienced manager last season, right? He's done it all. He's a bit complacent. He's going to be retiring in 5-10 years. You know what I mean? Let's give him a way bigger budget than someone's first job. It's like being the owner of a company. If you were employing somebody who doesn't know, don't give no training, don't give them no staff. You know what I mean? Yeah, somebody more experienced, more qualified, gets given all this more money. I don't understand it. And the training page, I was looking at stats, and like the past 5 seasons, just like the amount of players and the duration they're out is outrageous.
Yeah,
it's not like a 1 week, 2 week job. They're all out for 2-3 months. Don't get me wrong. I have got some question marks over Ross Burberry because he's like doubled the amount of injuries compared to the past few seasons. 12 injuries, like Marvin Coletta, Lenny. I know Josh Benson were injury prone, but like Kean Spence, Nombe, he's managed to kill Nombe, or someone has. Brownwood, I don't know. But I just don't. Something's got to change. And I want Matt Amshaw to be in charge still, but this 5 at the back is going to kill him, I think. He needs to have some flexibility. I think and change the players around, because the players that he keeps on picking are not performing, and he's not changing it one bit. So blame to go all around, I think, is the point.
Lots. Tegan says, Mick, you are the Joe Powell of this team, the best looking one. No, he's put no matter what your performances, you get a game every week.
I might get a calendar. I might get myself a Mick calendar.
Yeah, exactly. There is talk on social media of a protest. Now, what I would say to any of the protesting, if you feel you need to protest, that's obviously fine. That's fair. You are entitled to do your protests. My one request would be, please don't make it like that tennis ball protest that Sheffield Wednesday did. Please don't make it pathetic. If you're going to do it, do it good. Get organised, sort yourselves out, work out what your message is going to be, and do it properly.
Why is it the 11th minute? Why 11th?
I don't know.
Because that's average age of people organising, mate.
I don't know why it's 11th minute, actually. Anyway,
I thought there might be some like importance to the 11th, but I just
no, that's a good point. I don't know.
Well, 11 years. He's been in charge more than 11 years, hasn't he?
18, I think. Yeah.
That was the only thing I thought it might be, but I thought it was way over.
we're not. Honestly, if you're going to do it. Get organised. Get a group behind you. Do it properly. If this is something you think is important to the club, do it properly. Don't just turn up with 4 tennis balls on Sunday against Mansfield, because it will just make everybody look bad. I put a post out. I replied to the guy earlier with an extended series of thoughts that I think that we put to it, stressing again that we're not saying we are protesting or support protest. But I could not think of anything worse than some Sheffield Wednesday type protest. It would just look pathetic. But anyway, so the question is then, Paul Douglas is doing this interviews next week. What question? If I can guarantee you an answer, I can't. If I can guarantee you an answer, what would your question be to Paul Douglas next week? Now that is throwing it on you a little bit for you guys.
I was going to say, mate. Yeah, Sam, give me Artie's question first. Right, Sam, no worries, mate. Let everyone else have a chance to think. Appreciate that, mate.
Ben's volunteered himself. I wasn't going to come to Ben, but Ben has volunteered himself. So that's good news. Well done, Benjamin. By the way, Ben, we've been getting more people asking us when you're actually going to leave.
2.5 more weeks, yeah, unfortunately. So we might be down by then.
Yeah.
My question to Paul Douglas would be about the future. The future, because there seems... I don't know. There's so many questions that need to be answered. It just feels like we're not... the decisions don't make sense. The decisions don't make sense.
Which one? Go on. Which decision?
Well, over the past couple of years. Or
was any question? Yes, mate. Ask him with his right foot or left foot. For all I care, it's up to you.
Favorite bar.
All right. I will ask him what Tony Stewart's plan is for the next 5 years, and his plan on involvement. And if he's not going to be involved, who will be involved? And then whatever the aims are of that person.
Okay. Steve wants to know why we rent.
And ask an apology about Paul Warren.
Okay. Steve says, why are we renting from a training ground from a non-league club? Doesn't make financial sense. Scott Kent says, must put a question in his opinion, would Tony be willing to sell? Harry says, why won't Tony Stewart get financial help? Palmer says Premier League. You know, we were going to Premier League in 5 years or whatever.
Why didn't we think of that? We should just go to the Premier League, don't we?
Just do it. Yeah, we'll just do it. We'll just do it. Sam, what do you reckon?
It's probably similar lines. And the other thing is, I know it's like it is a new stadium, but at the same time, repairs don't get done.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I saw something, and it's true. One of the stand roofs had been like leaking. You know when it rains?
I got covered the other day walking past it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That was funny. Yeah.
It is. It's just like little things like that. It's just standards, isn't it? It's like, oh yeah, I've built you a new stadium. I'm not going to upkeep it though.
Yeah.
You can get stuffed. So, and apparently it's been going on for a few seasons. I move about because I got a season ticket. But when I've sat in that stand, I have noticed. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's there are some certain issues. Joe Wilson says, why is there no communication between Tony Stewart and the fans? So I think it's because the club don't trust him. I think it's because he's been persuaded by everybody at the football club to not talk in public. But that's my opinion. I've never. That's not kind of in the know kind of thing. Thomas,
I'd go similar with Ben and what Steve said. I'd ask about the training ground. I'd ask what the 5-year plan was with the training ground, whether or not he wants to own it, whether or not he expects to own it, whether or not he expects like what the view is in 5 years for what it looks like. Because every year we get told that the grass keeps getting greener, and the grass is like 250 grand's going into the grass, and another 100 grand's going into the grass. But actually, there's so many talks about why. And I think Hanshaw came out in an interview and said, well, I think it might have been with us actually, and he said that there are ice baths and there are a gym and all that stuff. But I mean, it takes one look to know that isn't, and we're not there for a while, but we all want to be a championship, solid club. It's nowhere near League 2 level, let alone championship level. So what in the next 5 years is going to get it to a championship level? And what is it that you're going to do to ensure it and to upkeep it? And whatever he said, I'd have the whole fan base hold him responsible for those words, whatever the 5-year plan was. And in 5 years, if it's not there, then
Yeah, I maybe like to see a new either a new supporters club created or the current supporters club be a bit more proactive with certain things. I think there is one, but I don't kind of see anything. I know they do coaches, which is brilliant. Well, that's massively important. But we don't kind of get any questions on. I don't see them. I don't see them anywhere other than the signs at the stadium for one of the units. So that's something I would maybe like to see. Also, that's not a question that I'd like to put forward there. Question from Darren Putway: when are we going to be able to buy pie that isn't burnt? Ironically, when I spoke to Cossey the other fan of the week, he said he was really looking forward to coming to New York Stadium because we do the best pies, which was weird. I love Cossey, but I didn't get that. He also then told me about shepherd's pie or cottage pies at Northampton, our class they were. So that's the kind of thing you get on this kind of podcast, favourite cottage pies, where to get them from. This is the kind of show we do. I wonder what Paul Douglas's favourite kind of pie is. Is it shepherd's pie, cottage pie? Anyway.
You think he's got a magic trick?
It's got to, Annie. You got to. You don't get to that age and work in this industry without a magic trick. You've just got to. Adam First is asking why the manager always goes on holiday. Whenever a manager is close to getting the sack. That is something happening there. Mark Gamble says yes, Bath, yes. Heating, no. Seems to be the way. Mike, what would your question be?
Yes, Matthew.
What would your question be to Mr. Douglas?
What is the plan to support and back this manager? And I don't want to hear, yes, we're going to support him. I want specifics. I want to know what you're going to do in terms of player recruitment. I want to know what's going to happen in terms of getting rid of players. I want to know whether he's going to have a budget to bring players in. I want to know whether you're going to back him. And I want specifics. I don't want corporate bullshit, excuse my French.
Bit of swearing. Mark Gambles is buzzing about this episode.
Yeah. but that's what we get. That's what we get. You know, I don't want to. And then this is the problem with not only football clubs, firms worldwide. They seem to think that us pleb members of the public just want to hear corporate nonsense. We want to hear specifics. I want to know what is the plan. What is the plan to get this football club? Football being the operative word here. To get this football club back on its feet, because it is no longer on its feet. So, but the issue is, all these questions will probably be asked to one degree or another. You know what I mean? And they will be met. Again, Paul Douglas's hands are tied, just like Matt Hamshaw's hands are tied. He will only have the corporate answers because that's the only answers he can give.
Yeah.
So
at least he's willing to front up. You can say what you want about Paul Douglas. At least he's willing to front up and try and answer questions.
Yeah.
That should be worth something. I'm sure it won't be, but it should be. You know what? We've got a game on Sunday. We've not done any preview show. I'm not doing. It's an hour 8 minutes in. I don't know. We'll do predictions in a second. Harry says, "Did anybody actually think the interview will be helpful or just another fans forum?"
Yeah.
It depends what the state of the club is. Do you know if Tony Schutt is actually looking to sell, and Paul Douglas comes out and says, "Yeah, there's a process in place. Tony is looking to disinvest, whatever the word would be." Then yeah, it's going to be interesting. But if Tony is just holding station, then it's going to be a nothing interview. So it depends on what Tony Stewart's situation is to actually what the interview is going to be. What it does suggest to me is that if he's going to interview next week, they have no intention of sacking Matt Hamshaw, because there's no way you'd do an interview if there were going to be a sacking in next week.
I hope that's the case. I'm sorry. I know
you do. I know you do. It's like speaking to a 10-year-old. Please don't sack my favourite manager, please.
He's not my favourite manager.
I know he's not. Still like talking to a 10-year-old.
Who is Steve Evans?
No, me. No.
Right. Predictions. Big new. I haven't updated the prediction table, but I know Tom was not far behind Sam and Kev, and Tom went for 2-0 to Peterborough. So when I update the league table, me and Ben also went 2-0 Peterborough, but we're miles behind.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So there will be movement in the league table, because Sam, you went for a win. No, you went for a draw. Sorry.
Yeah,
and
I
Kev went for a win. So the only interesting part of this evening is that the prediction table is getting a bit sort of interesting.
So am I
right.
still top, Matt?
You're still top, yeah. But I reckon Tom's probably within 3 or 4 points, you know.
Right, I just need to manage it now. That's all.
You do need to manage it, yeah.
Holding corner.
He was within 2 or 3 points of me last season, then he just fell off.
Oh,
He's
his bottom.
a bit
That's
of an
fighting
arse.
talk. That's fighting talk from somebody who's bottom of the league, mate.
Yeah, hey, mate. Mate, I'm sacking. I'm having a meeting with chairman later. I'm getting sacked.
Yeah. Right, Sam, your league leaders. Let's go with you, mate. Mansfield at home. They've just beaten Bolton, who we lost to, away from home, and I think they beat Blackpool as well. I think again, a team that we got bad by. So this could be fun. Sam, what do you reckon? Tom's, are you putting your fingers in your ear?
Yeah, because I don't want to be accused of cheating.
Well, I was going to ask you to ask Tom first.
Yeah.
Copy him, holding corner till end of season. I don't know why. 1-0 to us.
To us?
Yeah, to us.
Oh, that's fine. I was never going to go for
It's going to be a smash and grab. We're going to hold it to 0-0 at half time, like we have done, but not concede. Tete might actually get one in this time.
He didn't really score, to be fair. That needless overhead kick was close. It was.
He's 11 foot tall, though, isn't he? Like,
shame he couldn't use his head. Yeah. Before we go any further, let's make sure you have subscribed, like the video, do all that stuff that we actually do. I really appreciate everybody who stuck with us through this absolute garbage that we're having to talk about at the minute. I meant the football, Mick, not us. I appreciate you supporting us. Paulo says 0-0. By the way, she is on the Supporters Club committee. We do a lot more than run coaches. She'll do this. Perfect. That'd be great, Paul. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Scott Kent 3-1 to the Stags. 4-0 to Stags, says Rotherham Gaming. Usually says 2-1 to us. He's thinking positive. Mansfield 3-0 without Nombe. 2-1 with Nombe. So I think we're still going to lose either way. Going to Palma. Even with or without Nombe. Paul Ruby says 2-1 to Mansfield. Paul says 3-0 Mansfield, as does Steve. Hatter says think positive. Nope. 2-0 to the Stags. So does Harry and Richard. Tom, you're next in the league as far as I'm aware. Positive or negative?
We're at home, aren't we? I'm going to go positive and say 2-1 Mansfield.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I genuinely think it'll be 2-1, and I think it'll be. I think something's got to change. I think something's got to kick him up the arse, and I'm going to say every game that it's going to be. And I don't think that kick up the arse is a win or a draw. I think it's just a performance for now is what all we need for a bit of a kick up the arse. So, yeah, especially with Nombe maybe back, I'm going to go with 2-1 Mansfield because they've just beaten Bradford 3-0 and they beat Bolton and they beat Barnsley. Bradford, sorry. What did I say? Bolton.
Yeah, you were right, but you went for Bradford. That's what I meant earlier when I said Blackpool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're on a really good run. So, again, not a team that is going to be a pushover any means. Peterborough on a good run and they weren't the best of teams. I think Mansfield will be a bit better. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Mansfield.
2-1 to Mansfield. Okay. Benjamin?
Hey, I'm going to go 3-0 to Mansfield.
I thought for a second you were going 3-0 Rotherham.
I don't know what's going to change in 3 days with no signings and probably more injuries. And they've just beat Brad 3-0. So I'm going to say 3-0. Who are third? So I'm going to say 3-0.
Fair enough. I'm going to go 1-1.
You think we'll score? I hope so. I've seen 2 goals
penalty, won't it?
in a month. It's been a penalty and a Nombe toe poke, so I'm hoping.
Toe poke? Where's your box?
That's being a bit generous, mate. But it wasn't a toe poke, but the edge of box has been a bit generous.
All right. Miserable.
We were also 3-0 down.
Oh, yeah. It was pointless. It was as consolation gets.
Yeah.
Mick's probably needing a wee, so what was your prediction?
Correct, yeah. Turning point, 3-0 Rotherham. I told you. I'm going.
Are we going to get a Blackburn performance?
3-0 Rotherham. Hey?
It's going to be like Blackburn all over again.
Yeah, whatever.
Who's going to score, Mick?
No idea. Me, you, and Matt.
That's how desperately Mick needs to go. Thank you all for being with us tonight. Again, I know these are miserable episodes, but we are soldiering on. As I keep saying, things will turn. Eventually, things will get better. This isn't the end. This isn't the end of the world. If we end up in League 2, we'll be devastated and good. But we've been there before, and we'll come back again. Mick mentioned it about sticking with the football club in a less polite way the other day, but I think it is important to stick with it. You were there at we were there at Don Valley Stadium. You were there when we got relegated with record points twice. Stick with the football club. Ask questions. Shout. You don't have to be a happy clapper, but stick with the football club. Stick with the players, because we will come out on the other end eventually, whether it's 6 months, 2 years, 5 years. There will be a better day for Rotherham United. Absolutely will happen eventually. So stick with the football club, because it's been much worse than this. My God, it's been much worse than this. Mick, Ben, Sam, Tom, thank you ever so much for spending an hour and 50 minutes of your life when you could be watching darts. I apologise. We will be back on Sunday for the instant reaction. And then Monday, changing schedule. Monday, because obviously the day after the game, back Monday for the full review of the Mansfield game and whatever comes next. Thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure having your company. We'll see you all next time. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Here comes for more. 2 for Jensen, 2 for Rotherham. Shoots! Ravel. Vicious, but brilliant! The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United. What's got round the back? And Richard Wood has done